But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment, and whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Therefore thou bring thy gift to the altar, and thou rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee. Leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. And we're looking at this passage here in Matthew chapter 5. And the reason is, I heard two brothers or professing Christians debating about many things, but one of those subjects that they touched on was Bible versions, quote unquote. One of them was on the side of King James only, which this is a title or a label that I don't like, but it's one that's put on people like me. I do think the King James Bible is the Bible. And I think any other thing you pick up is going to be a version, including what you would call the original manuscripts or languages. You go into that, it's not that you can't get something from it. It's not that you can't get something from all these versions and translations and paraphrasings. But normally, what you're going to see happen is that you're going to get almost too much information. I've seen over several decades of being in churches, being a believer, and people they really believe that they're getting more depth, they're getting more understanding by reading every translation, including the Bible, and going and sitting under teachers, or becoming a teacher, or becoming a scholar, becoming a scribe, basically, who's going into dead languages to get something more out of the Bible. And long story short, I don't believe you have to do that. I think you can just pick up this Bible right here, what they call the King James Bible, which that divides people right there. That makes people get emotional on both sides. I don't really get emotional about it. I believe this is the Bible. I believe I can get everything I need from the Lord right from this book. One book. It's very simple, very direct, if you allow the Holy Spirit to guide you. But I say all that and we go back to Matthew 5 right there. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. Now that's the Bible I'm reading from right there. And you're going to notice that Jesus, these are red letters right here. So it's Jesus talking. Whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause. Now I want you to note that phrase right there. Without a cause. There's a reason that you might be angry with your brother. Now he's saying you're going to be in danger of judgment if you're doing it without a cause. But if you have a cause, you might be justified in being angry with your brother. This is Jesus' words here. And I'm bringing this up because I heard those two men talking recently about translations, and I was kind of disappointed with the so-called KJV only guy, the onlyist person. You know, you can tell that's a kind of a mocking little title there, KJV onlyist or whatever. Call it what you will. But I was disappointed in this man because the person he was debating is into all the languages and all the translations, and when they'll quote a verse, they'll use many, many different translations. So you kind of don't know where they're going sometimes. And people just don't get that these things change so much when you start changing the deity of Christ and these kind of things. That's what they do. And I've done a long study about this, and I've noticed that you can't really get people to see it unless they want to see it. They really don't want to see this. Even the people, as I said, that was defending all the versions and languages, he's a very intellectual or smart appearing person. But he can't see this. But he's very smart. So that tells you right there, it's a spiritual blindness. I don't know if I want to go that far with that word, because that might not apply to everybody. But I think it applies in a lot of cases. It's a spiritual blindness that has nothing to do with worldly intelligence. And I think that's affected a lot of us. It affects all of us, I think, at certain points or about certain things. But anyway, Let me quickly move on to some of these versions or translations. Now, right here, we're looking at the NLT. Right now, we're talking about this issue of being angry and whether you can be angry or whether God is okay with you being angry. Because the King James Bible says, do not be angry with your brother without a cause. So that's telling me there might be a cause sometimes, and God's not angry with you for being angry, basically. So let's look at this NLT and this intellectual brother I was just talking about. I don't know if he was a brother, he's a professing brother. The scribe, I guess, he was telling the KJV guy that the NLT was basically paraphrasing. As I said, I was disappointed with the KJV guy because he didn't know how to answer some of the things that this person is saying. And you got to know how to answer people. I don't know every answer, of course, but I'm really learning. I'm really striving to learn because people say the same kind of things when I talk about these issues of how the versions word things and subtly change spiritual things. And then everybody is in a confusion. Well, God's not the author of confusion. Well, look at the NLT. I don't think it's just a translation. And if it is, why are people using it as a Bible? You shouldn't even be out there. It's not clear that it's just not a translation, but a paraphrasing, I think is the word to use. A paraphrasing. We don't need a paraphrasing of the Bible. We just need somebody to rightly divide it for you. Or you need to get into it and rightly divide it. So this paraphrasing that he calls it of the NLT, what does it say? In Matthew 5:22, let's look at it. But I say, if you are even angry with someone, you are subject to judgment. If you call someone if you call someone an idiot, you are in danger of being brought before the court. And if you curse someone, you are in danger of the fires of hell. So right there at the beginning of verse 22, if you are even angry with someone, so it cuts out without a cause. Why does it do that? It's going to make you feel guilty or convicted just for having that emotion, even if there's a cause. Basically, there's no cause that you should be angry, is what the NLT is saying. Now, you may disagree with my reading of it, but that phrase is not there. So what do you got to say to that? What do you have to say? What about, what is this? The NRSV, New Revised Standard Version. I got about 5 or 6 of these versions. I'm going to add some more so we can do more of these compare and contrast kind of things. Many years ago, when I came abreast of this kind of issue, translations and the way they word things and the way they change doctrine with the changing of the wording, which people don't like to talk about. They don't like to look at that, but that's what happens. You're changing the very doctrine of churches, and again, you're just causing the confusion. So Matthew 5:22, what does it say? But I say to you that if you are angry with a brother or sister, you will be liable to judgment. Again, it cuts out without a cause. Now, people who know a little bit about this issue know that there are 2 lines of manuscripts. One was used for the set of Bibles that I'm, quote unquote, Bibles that I'm reading from right now, and the other one was used for the King James Bible. And most people think that it doesn't really matter, that you can just mix it all together and just get a lot because you've got everything. But again, I say it's just confusion and a chaos, and it changes doctrine. It changes churches. It splits people in unnecessary ways that are professing believers. So again, the NRSV, like the NLT, it removes without a cause. So again, you can't be angry at all, or God is mad at you. You're going to be in danger of going to hell. All right, let's look at the ERV, the easy to read version. You already know this is going to be messed up, but I'm just trying to show you. I just want to show people what's going on. And I'm learning something myself right here. Look at that, 5:22. But I tell you, don't be angry with anyone. If you are angry with others, you will be judged. And if you insult someone, you will be judged by the high court. Again, don't be angry with anyone. Okay, so I can't even feel that emotion. So no matter what happens, I can't even have a flash of emotion. All guys mad at me, right? Okay, let's look at 5:22 in, what is this? The Christian Standard Bible, the Holman Christian Standard Bible. I heard the intellectual scribe online. I think he likes this Bible. He thinks all the Bible. That's what I think I said that. Maybe I can go back and clip that interview if I can go back and find it, the link, and can push back on it. All right, the CSB 5:22 in Matthew. I tell you, everyone who is angry with his brother or sister will be subject to judgment. You can tell this all came from the same source. It came from a different source in the Bible. Okay? Again, you can't be angry at all. And then the Amplified Bible. Let's look at the Amplified Bible right here in Matthew 5:22. I mean, I just want people to look at this. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying here, that the King James Bible is the Bible. And I know people, 95% of people that I ever meet, within and without church, within and without the faith, they're all going to roll their eyes at what I just said right there. I understand that. That tells me I'm on to something, because that many people are that in that kind of a spirit of mockery and almost anger at me for saying that. I've noticed that over time. But anyway, let's look at the Amplified Bible. You're supposed to get amplified. You're supposed to get more in here. 5:22 Matthew. I say to you that everyone who continues to be angry with his brother or harbors malice, enmity of heart, against them shall be liable and unable to escape the punishment imposed by the court. And whoever speaks contemptuously and insultingly to his brother shall be liable to and unable to escape the punishment imposed by the Sanhedrin. And whoever says, "You cursed fool, you empty-headed idiot," shall be liable to and unable to escape the hell, Gehenna, of fire. All right, so again, this really stretches it out because it's the amplified version. So you're supposed to get more, right? You're supposed to get more deep into it. This kind of does line up with the Bible right here, because it says everyone who continues to be angry with him. We understand that if we can be angry, but you're not supposed to harbor it. So this one does at least kind of hint at that. Hey, it's okay to be angry, but you can't harbor it. Harbors malice against them. Yeah, so the Amplified is a little bit closer, but again, it doesn't really say that you have a cause like the Bible does. You got to think that's strange. So again, I'm looking at the purpose of this here, or what I call the theme of it, or bottom line of it. You're not supposed to be angry. You're not supposed to be angry, or God's mad at you. But the Bible says it's okay to be angry, and if you have a cause. But if you're angry without a cause, then you might be in trouble. I don't think this is that hard to get. It is kind of a deal because it's a subtle little dig at, again, you're not supposed to be angry or anything. That's not realistic. I think this is a way of getting Christians to kind of tamp down the way they feel, or their passion, or those kind of things. They're amplified. Ephesians 4, verse 26. Let's see what it says. I'm interested. Ephesians 4:26. When angry, do not sin. So right here it says you can be angry. Right? Amplified is kind of not the culprit here, but these other versions I read, and probably more, there are culprits. They're guilty of this. Just don't be angry at all. I mean, if you can't see what's wrong with that, God help you. Or pray for understanding. Pray for me to understand, if that's what your issue is. When angry, do not sin. Do not ever let your wrath, your exasperation, your fury, or indignation last until the sun goes down. Well, the Amplified is kind of a little bit better than some of these other ones. But still, it's not the Bible. It's just not the Bible. Look at the CSB real quick. Ephesians 4:26. Let's flip over there. Be angry and do not sin. So right here saying you can be angry. And don't even say cause or anything. It just say be angry. But back there in Matthew 5, it says don't be angry with anyone. Let's go see exactly what the CSB says, so I don't get this wrong. Let me go back. I tell you, everyone who is angry with his brother or sister will be subject to judgment. So maybe somebody's going to come along and say, but Matthew 5 is talking about being angry with your brother. So you can be angry in other places. I still think this is a contradiction in this Bible right here. Quote unquote Bible. Everyone who's angry with his brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Oh no, brother, no, it's not. This is talking about within the faith. So I can't be angry at my brothers, but I can be angry outside the faith. It doesn't say that. 4:26, excuse me. It says be angry and do not sin. Well, these verses kind of match up right there, but there's a kind of an inconsistency there. I'll say that. Maybe not a contradiction per se, but it's definitely inconsistent. The King James Bible, the Bible, It's just more clear. It's just too direct, and people can't take that, so they got to go and dig in and all this other stuff. That's basically what this is. Ephesians 4:26, in an easy-to-read version, when you are angry, don't let that anger make you sin. And don't stay angry all day. They're trying to make it kind of direct there. But again, it goes against what this version says back in Matthew chapter 5. Don't be angry at all. Don't be angry at all. Again, let me go back and see, so I don't make sure I'm not misquoting it. Matthew 5, in an easy-to-read version. I tell you, don't be angry with anyone. If you are angry with others, you're going to be judged. You're not going to find these inconsistencies in the Bible, just in these versions. I heard one preacher talking about this, and he said, listen, because he had a message where he preached about many different contradictions or inconsistencies in all these versions. He did a very good message on it. This is 20 plus years ago as I'm talking right now, in 2023. And at the end of it, he said, listen, if you can show somebody 100 of these, he did like 5. He said, you can show somebody 100 of these, and if they don't want to see it, they're not going to see it. And I've definitely found out to be true. Just like in the the NRSV, New Revised Standard Version. What does that say in Ephesians 4:26? Be angry, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. You might be asking, what is it? What are you doing here? What is the point of this? I'm pointing out the inconsistencies of these versions that you think you're getting so much information from. If that's you. Does that go against what they say in 5:22 in here? I say to you that if you are angry with a brother or sister, you can kind of split hairs and say these versions are talking about being angry with people and or people specifically within the faith. Don't be angry with them, or you're going to be in trouble. But it's not talking about other stuff. You can maybe be able to argue that, but it doesn't line up with everything else. Because you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. So how are you going to say that I'm not supposed to be angry with my brother or sister in the faith, but I can be angry with somebody outside the faith? So I don't know if anybody would make that argument, but I'm going to preemptively strike that right now. That doesn't make sense because you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. Includes Christians and non-Christians, basically. So again, the NRSV, inconsistent. The NLT, let's look at that Ephesians. I'm not going to accept that it's a paraphrasing because I've never heard anybody say that before. That might be true, but people don't use it as a paraphrasing. I mean, I've seen people use the Reader's Digest, condensed version of Bibles and stuff like that. I don't know if that's the name of it, but there's stuff out there like that. There's many kinds of Bibles, many kinds of quote unquote Bibles, as I say. And people don't look at them as paraphrasing or condensed. They look at that as just Bible. And they're in error. Now, God can use, like I say all the time, people can get saved using versions. They can get saved using, I don't know, a Paw Patrol Bible if they have that. That's probably out there somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, you might get something from that. You might get saved from that, but that's not the ideal. God can do anything. If I murder someone and go to prison, and then in prison, while I'm in prison, I get saved, I really, truly am born again in the prison now. I'm never getting out of there. And while I'm in there, I start a little ministry and I get other prisoners saved and that are coming in and out of there. Does that justify the murder that I did? Does that justify the murder? Because I got 10 people saved in there before my life sentence was up and I died or something in the prison. Does that justify that murder? Because I got people saved. I got more people saved than I killed. Some people might say that's justifiable. Maybe in God's eyes it is. God says it is right, but I'm not going to try to read his mind on that. I'm asking you listening right now. And I use that example or that illustration with these versions. Yeah, people could get saved through that. People could get saved in all kinds of messed up churches. You got a messed up preacher and a pastor in the pulpit who's really a false teacher, but he said one thing and really gave the gospel one day and somebody came in there and got saved. Does that justify all his false teachings? No. But God just used it. And I think he uses all these versions in the same way. Now, I don't think I read Ephesians 4:26. Let me go back to that. Don't sin by letting anger control you. I think that's what it says. NLT. Don't let the sun go down while you're still angry, for anger gives a foothold to the devil. This is actually a better reading, this paraphrasing, quote unquote, than the last few versions I just read. Isn't that strange? I mean, the point we're making is, number one, if you know that this Bible is a Bible, you better have a way to answer people, because most people are going to come against you for that. Most people in the world, within and without the faith, as I said, knowledgeable or not, saved or not, they're going to come after you when you say, hey, the King James Bible is the Bible. I don't need anything else. I can get everything I need from here. You don't have more power because you read dead languages and came back and broke it down on the drop top flat screen out the ceiling. You don't have more power. In fact, you probably got less because you're depending so much on the letter instead of the spirit. You got to have both of them. You got to have both of them. But most people lean too far one way or the other. I can just read this Bible and get everything out that I need to get. But again, you can get stuff from other versions. You can get stuff from those languages. It might puff you up. It might make you feel haughty. Make you feel in the know. This is usually what I see when I see people read every translation and start digging into Greek and Hebrew. That's usually what I see. I guess not every time, but there's the humility kind of leaves people. I've noticed that because they feel like they know a lot. I remember one Bible teacher. This is years and years ago before I started seeing the danger of some of this stuff. But I had a kind of sense going off back then of listening to him. Like, man, why does he keep saying, well, in the Greek it says this? And I remember one time he stood up and said, I don't say this in the Greek to impress you or anything like that, which of course that's not true. He was doing it to impress us. He was doing it so that the average person is going to put their Bible down and say, man, I don't know what it says anymore, because he's going in all these languages. I have no idea what these hieroglyphic looking things look up there on the PowerPoint. I have no idea what that is. I'm just going to close my Bible and listen to this guy now because he's smart. This is what happens. I've seen this happen. To people. And I'm not going to take that. But I remember he said, I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not trying to lose you and make you feel like you don't know anything about. He knew what people were thinking. He was trying to get ahead of them, but he wasn't tricking me. I understood that's exactly what it was. It was to make you go through the scholars and the seminaries and the Bible colleges and all these councils and conferences and all these, you know what I'm saying? They've got all this system set up so that I can't just pick up this Bible and say, thus saith the Lord. Well, no, where in the Greek it says this. Okay. All right, I mean, you got to let people go on that path. I don't think it's a salvation issue. If you really are saved, if you really have accepted the gospel, death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the Lord Jesus Christ. He's equal with God. He is God. He's the Son of God, and he's the only way to the Father in heaven. Only way. He is the way. If you've got that down, this wrangling over translations and things like that, and trying to be smart and having to read one passage 10 times in a Bible study because everybody's got a different Bible, all that stuff kind of goes out the window. Are you a believer? So we can connect on that, and this may be something that we have to disagree on, but we just want to touch on that. But one last thing I want to look at was, remember, Jesus goes into the temple. I think there's 2 accounts of this. I could be wrong about that. If I am, feel free to correct me. But I believe there were 2 instances where he basically cleaned out the temple. Money changers, people extorting people in the temple, and he got him out of there. Now, he appeared angry to me. I think Jesus was angry right there. I mean, I'm playing dumb right now, or maybe I'm not playing. I guess somebody, but I'm playing dumb right there. What, was he angry? Yes, I think Jesus was angry right there. Why was he angry? Look at Matthew 21. Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all of them that sold and brought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, it is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. It doesn't. You think he was angry, or was he just calm? I think he was very angry. Now again, if you disagree, tell me why, or tell me how I'm wrong. I don't know. So Jesus is angry. So according to those versions I've read, he's in danger of hellfire. Well, that's different as Jesus. No, he's our example. So he got angry. Is he sinning? Is Jesus sinning right now? He's angry, and he's kicking these men out of the lobby or foyer or whatever of the church. I mean, I'm using modern kind of terminology there and all that. He's kicking them out of the church. He says, "It's my father's house. You made it to a den of thieves. Get out of here." Was he sinning? Was Jesus in danger of hellfire? Of course, the answer to all those questions is no. But he was angry. It's an inconsistency. And of course, as I've heard one brother say, that this is a carpenter or a man that worked with his hands. Jesus was a strong man on every single level. I don't think this was a general, patting on the back or the shoulder. All right, come on, guys, let's get out of here now. All right, I don't like this. No, as I said, I believe he was angry. Righteous indignation in practice. I just want you to think about this. If you think they're all the same version, or what's the other thing? You can get something from all of it. It's an auto word of God. We need the languages, old languages, the quote unquote original languages. But the question I have is, what do you mean original languages? You say Greek or Hebrew or even Aramaic or something like that. What do you mean? So you're telling me that in heaven, you said original languages. So in heaven or in glory, the Lord is speaking Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic, not English. Especially not that old English. That old English. That is in the Bible. Is that what you're saying? What I'm saying is, keep it simple. We've got the Bible. We've got it in English. And the Holy Spirit is going to help you to rightly divide it if you ask Him to. And you're going to believe that He's going to do that.